Hello, family and friends. How are you today? Welcome to 196 Days Around the World of Family Life. I landed in the country called Bulgaria this morning, and I'm so impressed at everything I've learned about this country. Now, Bulgaria is a country in the southeast Europe. It is bordered by Romania to the north, Serbia and North Macedonia to the west, Greece and Turkey to the sea to the east. The capital and largest city is Sofia. All the major cities are Plovdiv, Varna, and Burgas, with a territory of 110,994 square kilometers. Bulgaria is Europe's 16th largest country. Bulgaria is a Balkan nation with diverse terrain encompassing Black Sea coastline, a mountainous interior and rivers, including the Danube, a cultural melting point with Greek, Slavic, Ottoman, and Persian influences. It has a rich heritage of traditional dance, music, costumes, and crafts. At the foot of Dome Vitosha Mountain is its capital city, Sofia, dating to the 5th century. The dominant national culture is that of the ethnic Bulgarians, and there's little sense of shared national culture among the three main ethnic groups. Turks usually do not self-identify as Bulgarians, whereas the Gypsies often do. Both groups are generally considered outsiders by Bulgarians. What are the 6 fun facts you need to understand if you want to work in Bulgaria as a family life practitioner? Number one, they have a dynamic family system. Family composition in Bulgaria is varied by the generally similar to the US. Typically, only the parents and children live in the same household. In some cases, often in rural areas, grandparents are also part of the household. In Bulgaria, it is common for both parents to be professionals and for both to be financially responsible for the family. Both parents expect to be viewed as equal authority figures in all household decisions. So there's a bit of gender parity there. Meals in Bulgaria may be eaten all together as a family or separately depending on family members' schedules. Among siblings, possessions of an individual child are treated as their own and are not understood to be shared property of siblings. When siblings want to borrow something from each other, it is generally understood that they must ask first. Now, when it comes to family system, they practice what is called the patrilocal family system. Historical accounts of Balkan family structure often discuss the Zadruga, an extended joint family household said to have disappeared by the early 21st century, 20th century. Contemporary household common consists of a married couple or couple with children, but it may include three generations. For example, a nuclear family with a grandparent or a married couple, their son and daughter-in-law and grandchildren. Most couples have only one or two children, although birth rates are higher for Bulgarians' ethnic minority. Household are primarily units of social and biological reproduction and economic activity, especially in the case of agricultural production. Now, since most women who are grandparents often care for grandchildren in three-generation households, contributed to such household housing shortages and the need to generate income through both wage labor and subsistence production. Now, after marriage, patrilocal residence with a new couple moving in with husband's parents is more likely than matrilocal residence, although couples may establish independent household if they have sufficient resources. Now, that has changed with the 21st century trend where, it's more of the nuclear family, husband, wife, and their two children, or in some cases, one child. Now, there's pseudo gender equality in Bulgaria. Many women entered paid employment during the socialist era when an ideology of gender equality was promoted, and they made up nearly half the workforce in the late 20th century. Women are frequently employed as teachers, nurses, pharmacists, sales clerks, and laborers. Women are also likely responsible for household tasks, taking care, cooking, cleaning, and shopping. Agricultural labor is divided according to gender, with men working with animals and machinery, and women doing more hand labor in crop production. While Bulgaria is often described as a patriarchal society, women have substantial authority in household budgeting or agricultural decision making. Both men and women have the right to vote and own property. Women lag behind only slightly on educational achievement. Despite the socialist ideology of gender equality, women are often employed in lower paying jobs. But, Bulgaria is still, relatively like the typical European country. There seems to be what looks like a gender equality, but it's pseudo because you still see men occupy the majority and the most important roles in the country. Now, when it comes to marriage, Bulgarians typically marry by individual choice, although family may exert pressure on the choice of spouse in the rural areas. Some groups, such as Pomaks and Gypsies, previously arranged marriages and may occasionally do so now. Only civil ceremonies are legally recognized, although couples may also have a religious ceremony. Marriages are monogamous, close relatives are not considered appropriate marriage partners, and spouses are usually from the same ethnic and religious group. Nearly all adults marry, typically in their early to mid 20s. Divorce was rare in the past, but is less stigmatized today. Marriage rates declined in the 1990s to respond to post-socialist uncertainty. Marriage was nearly universal and usually occurred when the man and woman were in their early 20s. Village endogamy was common, though marriage of individuals from neighboring villages were also frequent. There is a tribe called the Kaladizes tribe. They don't marry outside their group, and boys and girls aren't allowed to date without adults around. The Kalaidzes go to the market to sell their daughters like horses. Did you get that? The only thing they are missing are signs which says how much they cost. One girl said, I don't like it at all. Although it was said that, I mean, what they said was that they had to pay to guarantee that the girl is still a virgin. But what the outside world believe and what people are saying with this tribe in Bulgaria is that they take their daughters to the market and ask people to come and bid for them. Of course, with the 21st century, that has changed a lot, but you will still find this in the interland. And this is Europe for crying out loud. So if you want to go work there as a family life professional, your work is cut out. When it comes to socialization, traditionally the household and village provided a major context for socialization of children into adults. Children learn by observation and experience. With a reduction in the number of children per couple and the increasing role of social education, the process has changed. Parents indulge their children and do not encourage independence, perhaps in opposition to socialist education, which usually recently stressed political ideology and commitment. Bulgarians tend towards single child families. They are thus able to devote considerable resources and attention to their children's well being and education. Children age 3 to 6 may attend state-run kindergartens where available. So you can see that Bulgarians, especially the ethnic ones, they value education, and children are encouraged to do well. Turks and Gypsies have notably higher birth rates and tend to lower on the social economic scale. The levels of education achievement are generally lower than among ethnic Bulgarians. So basically, you can find here that children are basically raised by parents, and they believe if you have one child, you can devote a lot of resources to raising the child instead of just having a lot of children. Now, gender-based violence, there seems to be a child rights violation in some parts of Bulgaria, with 68% of parents accepting the use of violence within reasonable bounds as discipline method in a survey. So Bulgarian parents still beat their children in corporal punishment. The Constitution of Bulgaria provides for gender equality. All persons are born free and equal in dignity and rights. All citizens shall be equal before the law. There shall be no privilege or restriction of rights in the grounds of race, national or social origin, ethnic self-identity, sex, religion, education, opinion, political affiliation, personal or social status or property status. Women and men have equal legal rights in Bulgaria. Both men and women can own properties. In practice, however, some heirs may be disinherited or may receive more land than their siblings, and daughters traditionally inherited less land than sons. The latter was sometimes explained in terms of the often like dowries of household goods and sometimes land or livestock that women traditionally took into marriage. Houses were traditionally often inherited by the youngest sons who brought their wives to live in the family homes. An estimated 900,000 women in Bulgaria suffer from domestic abuse every year. There is a severe lack of adequate support for victims, and Bulgaria does not fulfill the Council of Europe recommendation of safe accommodation in specialized women shelter. So you can see that there's gender-based violence in this country. So if you want to go work there, you know what you are up against. You will need to find a way to restore gender parity and ensure that he supports she, and she and he collaborate to build a better world. But the good thing is that their constitution specifies that everyone is equal, but in practice, it seems to be a little bit different. So you can actually educate both boys and girls in Bulgaria to stand for one another so that they can raise a proper nation. Now, if you want to go work in Bulgaria, of course, they have their standards and there are courses you need to take, but there's one course that can help you bypass conscious resistance and function in any culture of the world. That course is Family Systems Engineering Certification Program. If you go to school.impressforward.com or you go to impressforward.com and click on courses, you will find the course there. You take it, it will transform your life. You can follow me on Instagram, The Family Life Therapist. I'll be back tomorrow as I visit another country of the world. Have a fantastic day.